Question 1. 39 plus 673. One way to do this is to set it out as a column addition, and then 3 plus 9 is 12, so 1, 2. 1 plus 7 plus 3 is 11, so 1, 1. And 1 plus 6 is 7, so our answer is 712. Question 2. 9 elevenths minus 4 elevenths. Well, here we already have a common denominator, and with subtraction, just like with addition, we always keep the denominator the same. So our denominator will be 11, and then we can just subtract the numerator, and 9 minus 4 is 5, so our answer is 5 elevenths. Question 3. 2 times 45. One way to do this is to set it out as a column multiplication, and then 5 times 2 is 10, so 1, 0. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9, so our answer is 90. Question 4. 838 divided by 1. Any number divided by 1 is just that number, so our answer is 838. Question 5. 99 divided by 11. You should know your times tables up to 12 times 12, so you should know that 9 times 11 is 99, which means our answer is 9. Question 6. 5 times 4 times 10. We can multiply in any order, but if we work from left to right, we have 5 times 4, which is 20, and then we need to take that answer to take 20 and multiply it by our final number. So we have 20 times 10. If you're multiplying a whole number by 10, you can just put a 0 on the end, so 20 times 10 is 200, and that's our answer. Question 7. 7,064 minus 502. You could set this out as a column subtraction. So 4 minus 2 is 2, 6 minus 0 is 6. We can't do 0 minus 5, so we exchange. 10 minus 5 is 5, and 6 minus nothing is 6. So our answer is 6,562. Question 8. 6 squared plus 10. So remember, this squared symbol means multiply the number by itself. So 6 squared means 6 times 6, which is 36. Then, if we add 10 to that, we get our answer 46. Question 9. 56.38 plus 24.7. If we write this out as a column addition, we need to remember to keep our decimal points lined up, so that our digits are in the right place value columns. We can write 0 in empty spaces, and we need to remember to put the decimal point in our answer as well. Now we can just add as normal, so 8 plus 0 is 8, 3 plus 7 is 10, so 1, 0, 1 plus 6 plus 4 is 11, so 1, 1, and 1 plus 5 plus 2 is 8, so our answer is 81.08. Question 10. Something take away 10 is 298. So when the first number of a subtraction is missing, we need to use the inverse operation to get our answer. So we need to work out 298 plus 10, which is 308. So that's our missing number. And then we just check that what we've written makes sense, and yes, 308 minus 10 is 298. Question 11. 270 divided by 3. We could write this out as a short division. So 27 divided by 3 is 9, 0 divided by 3 is 0, so our answer is 90. But we could save time by working this out mentally. If we know that 27 divided by 3 is 9, we have 9 in our answer, and then because we have one end 0 in our dividend, we need an end 0 in our answer. Question 12. 5,400 divided by 9. We could write this out as a short division, so 54 divided by 9 is 6, 0 divided by 9 is 0, and 0 divided by 9 is 0, so our answer is 600. But we could save time by working this out mentally. If we know that 54 divided by 9 is 6, we have 6 in our answer, and then because we have 2 end zeros in our dividend, we need 2 end zeros in our answer. Question 13. 60 divided by 15. We know that 1 times 15 is 15, so if we add 15, 2 times 15 is 30, adding another 15, 3 times 15 is 45, and another 15 brings us to 60, and because that's 4 times 15, the answer to 60 divided by 15 must be 4. Question 14. Something equals 5,776 minus 855. Well, it doesn't matter whether the equal sign is at the start or at the end, we do the same thing. We can set this out as a column subtraction. So 6 minus 5 is 1, 7 minus 5 is 2. We can't do 7 minus 8, so we exchange to get 17 minus 8, which is 9, and then 4 minus nothing is 4. So our answer is 4,921. Question 15. 3,050,020 equals 3 million plus something plus 20. So we can see that the number has been partitioned, but this 5 digit in our 10,000s hasn't been, and because it's in our 10,000s, we know that it stands for 50,000, because you can see that there are 4 digits after the 5, so when we're partitioning it, we need 4 zeros after the 5. Question 16. 10 minus 5.4. We could set this out as a column subtraction, so we need the 5 under the 0 to keep our place values lined up, and then we know that if we have a whole number, we can stick a 0.0 on the end of it. We need the decimal point in our answer, and now we can subtract as normal. We can't do 0 minus 4, and here, to exchange, we first need to exchange with our tens and units, and now we can exchange with our units and tenths. So 10 minus 4 is 6, 9 minus 5 is 4, and 0 minus nothing is 0, so our answer is 4.6. Question 17. 5/7 plus 3 over 21. To add fractions, we need the denominators to be the same, so we can find a fraction equivalent to 5/7, which has a denominator of 21. 7 times 3 is 21, and 5 times 3 is 15. So we can rewrite our question, because 5/7 is the same as 15 over 21. So we have 15 over 21 plus 3 over 21, so now we keep the denominator at 21 and add the numerator. So our answer is 18 over 21. Now we could simplify this fraction, but we don't need to do this to get the mark, so let's just move on to the next question. Question 18. 0.1 divided by 100. So there's an easy way to divide by 100, and here's what we do. We write out the dividend, the number we're dividing, then we write a decimal point underneath the decimal point. Now, with 100 we have 2 zeros, so the digits are moving 2 places, and we're dividing, so the digits are moving 2 places to the right. So we can take this 1 and copy it down 2 squares to the right. Then we need zeros in our other place value columns, so our answer is 0.001. Question 19. We need to find 3/4 of 1,000. Now it's useful to learn common fractions of 1,000 by heart, but if you don't know this, we find a fraction of a number by dividing by the denominator, then multiplying by the numerator. So we can first divide by the denominator. So 10 divided by 4 is 2, remainder 2. 20 divided by 4 is 5, and 0 divided by 4 is 0. So we have 250. And now we can multiply that by the numerator. So 0 times 3 is 0. 5 times 3 is 15, so that's 1, 5, and 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, so we have our answer 750. Question 20. 785 times 23. 5 times 3 is 15, so 1, 5. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25, so 2, 5. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 2 is 23. Now we've finished with 3 in our units, we can cross out our working and write a 0 in the last column of our second answer line. Now 5 times 2 is 10, so 1, 0. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 1 is 17, so 1, 7. And 7 times 2 is 14, plus 1 is 15. So now we can add up our answer lines, and 5 plus 0 is 5, 5 plus 0 is 5, 3 plus 7 is 10, so 1, 0, 1 plus 2 plus 5 is 8, and nothing plus 1 is 1. So we have our answer 18,055. Question 21. 20% of 1,200. Remember, a percentage is just a fraction over 100. So if we remember that 20% is 20 hundredths, we can find 20% by finding 20 hundredths of the number. So to find a fraction of a number, we can divide by the denominator, so we can divide 1,200 by 100 to get 12, because remember, when we're dividing multiples of 100, we can cancel the end zeros. So now we can multiply that by the numerator, so multiply it by 20, which gives us 240. Because remember, 12 times 2 is 24, and then if we have one end zero in the question, we'll need one end zero in the answer. So that's our answer. Now we could have simplified 20 hundredths to 1/5, so then all we need to do is divide by 5. 12 divided by 5 is 2, remainder 2. 20 divided by 5 is 4, and 0 divided by 5 is 0. So we get the same answer. Question 22. 645 divided by 43. So we need our 43 times table. 43 is of course 1 times 43, but if we add another 43, we get 86. So that's 2 times 43. Now if we look back to our question, we can see that if we take the first two digits together, we have 64 divided by 43, and 64 is less than 86. So we can write 43 below the 64 and 1 in our answer line. So now we subtract. 4 minus 3 is 1, 6 minus 4 is 2, and now we bring down our 5. So we need to work out 215 divided by 43. If we add another 43, we get 129, so that's 3 times. Now let's add another 43, so 9 plus 3 is 12, so 1, 2, and I've written the 1 in red only so that it's easier for you to see on screen. Now 1 plus 2 plus 4 is 7, and 1 plus nothing is 1. So that's 4 times 43. Now let's add another 43. So 2 plus 3 is 5. 7 plus 4 is 11. So 1, 1. And 1 plus 1 is 2. So 5 times 43 is 215. And because that was what we were dividing by, we can now write 5 in our answer. And we don't have any other digits to divide. So our answer is 15. Question 23, 0.5 times 28. Now there are different strategies that we could use here, but if you're unsure, you can always just write it out as a column multiplication. So we have 28 at the top and 0.5 at the bottom. Now the place values here aren't lined up, But for multiplication, that doesn't matter, as long as we remember that if we have one decimal place in the question, there will be one decimal place in the answer, so it's a good idea to write in the decimal point straight away. Now, 8 times 5 is 40, so 4, 0, and 2 times 5 is 10, plus 4 is 14. Now, because this next digit is a 0, and anything multiplied by 0 is just 0, we can ignore it. So our answer is just 14.0, or 14. Question 24, 1/2 plus 1/5. To add fractions, we need the denominators to be the same, but 5 isn't a multiple of 2. 5 isn't in the 2 times table. So this means we need to change both fractions. 10 is in both the 2 times table and the 5 times table. So let's find equivalent fractions with a denominator of 10. 2 times 5 is 10, and 1 times 5 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10, and 1 times 2 is 2. So instead of 1/2, we can write 5/10, and instead of adding 1/5, we can add 2/10. To add fractions, we keep the denominator the same and add the numerators, so our answer is 7/10. Question 25. 1 3/4 plus 3/4. We can convert mixed numbers to improper fractions. So 1 3/4 as an improper fraction is 7/4, because we keep the denominator the same, and then 1 times 4 is 4, plus 3 is 7. We need to add 3/4 to that, and because both of our fractions have a denominator of 4, our answer will also have a denominator of 4. And then we can add the numerators to get 10. So our answer is 10/4. We could change it into a mixed number, but for this test paper, we'll still get the mark even if we don't. So let's move on to the next question. Question 26. 6 minus 5.738. We could use column subtraction for this, writing 6 on top and then writing 5.738 below, making sure our place value columns are lined up. We know that putting a decimal point and then zeros at the end of a whole number doesn't change the number, so we can write 0.000 here, and then so we don't forget, let's put the decimal point in our answer straight away. Now we can't do 0 take away 8, and we need to go all the way over to the 6 to exchange. We can exchange one of the units for 10/10ths, then one of the tenths for 10/100ths, and finally one of the hundredths for 10,000ths. So now 10 minus 8 is 2, 9 minus 3 is 6, 9 minus 7 is 2, and 5 minus 5 is 0. So our answer is 0.262. Question 27. 3.9 times 30. There are different strategies to use for this question, but one approach is simply to set it out as a column multiplication. All we need to remember is that if there is one decimal place in the question, there will be one decimal place in the answer. So let's write in our decimal point straight away. Now, obviously, 9 times 0 is 0, and 3 times 0 is 0, so we can move on to our second answer line. Remember, we always need a 0 here, and now 9 times 3 is 27, so 2, 7, and 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. If we copy that down into our answer, we can see that we have 117.0, or 117. Question 28. 1 1/15 minus 2/5. To subtract fractions, we need to get the denominators the same, so we can change 2/5 into 15ths. 5 times 3 is 15, and 2 times 3 is 6, so we need to subtract 6/15ths. We only have 1/15th, which means that we need to convert our whole. If we write 1 1/15 as a mixed number, as an improper fraction, we have 16/15. And because 2/5 is the same as 6/15, we're taking 6/15 away. We keep our common denominator and subtract the numerator, so our answer is 10/15. We could simplify that, but in this paper, to get the mark, we don't need to. So let's move on to the next one. Question 29. 5,413 times 86. 3 times 6 is 18, so 1/8. 1 times 6 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 4 times 6 is 24, so 2/4. And 5 times 6 is 30, plus 2 is 32. So now that we've finished our first answer line, we can cross out our working and write a 0 in our second answer line. Now, 3 times 8 is 24, so 2/4. 1 times 8 is 8, plus 2 is 10, so 1/0. 4 times 8 is 32, plus 1 is 33, so 3/3. And 5 times 8 is 40, plus 3 is 43. Now we just need to add up our answer lines. So 8 plus 0 is 8, 7 plus 4 is 11, so 1, 1. 1 plus 4 plus 0 is 5, 2 plus 3 is 5, 3 plus 3 is 6, and nothing plus 4 is 4. So our answer is 465,518. Question 30, find 99% of 200. So to find a percentage of a number, we can think of it as a fraction over 100. Then to find a fraction of a number, we can divide by the denominator and then multiply by the numerator. So if we divide 200 by 100, we get 2, because remember we can cancel zeros when dividing. Then we need to multiply by the numerator, so multiply by 99. 9 times 2 is 18, so 1/8. 9 times 2 is 18, plus 1 is 19, so we have our answer 198. Question 31. 1/4 divided by 2. To divide a fraction by a whole number, we don't actually need to do any division at all. Instead, we just take the fraction and multiply the denominator by the number. And because 4 times 2 is 8, our answer is 1/8. Question 32. 9 squared minus 36 divided by 9. So we have mixed operations here, which means we need to think carefully about the order in which we do things. We don't have any brackets in the calculation, so we can start with 9 squared. 9 times 9 is 81. So let's rewrite the calculation with 81 instead of 9 squared. Now we have subtraction and division. But remember, if we have mixed operations, we always leave addition and subtraction to the end. The way I remember this is leave the easy stuff to the end. So we need to do the division first. We need to do 36 divided by 9, which gives us 4. So let's rewrite the question again with 4 instead of 36 divided by 9. So now we just have 81 minus 4, which is 77. Question 33. 1½ times 40. Change the mixed number into an improper fraction, so we can write 1½ as 3 over 2. Then remember, when we're multiplying fractions, we only multiply the numerator and we keep the denominator the same. So 3 times 40 is 120, because 3 times 4 is 12, and then because we have one end 0 in the question, we need one end 0 in the answer. And we keep the denominator the same, so we have 120 over 2. 120 divided by 2 is 60, because 12 divided by 2 is 6. And then, because we have one end 0 in the dividend, we need one end 0 in the answer. So our answer is 60. Question 34. find 28% of 650. So a percentage is a fraction over 100. So we can find 28% by finding 28 hundredths of 650. So with fractions, we divide by the denominator, and 650 divided by 100 is 6.5. Because we have a decimal point at the end of a whole number, and because 100 has 2 zeros at the end, the digits move 2 places. But we can ignore zeros on the end of a decimal number. So then, to find a fraction of a number, we just multiply by the numerator. Our place values aren't lined up, but for multiplication, that doesn't matter, as long as we remember that if there is one decimal place in the question, there will be one decimal place in the answer. So our decimal point in our answer needs to go here. Now we can just multiply as normal. 5 times 8 is 40, so 40. 6 times 8 is 48, plus 4 is 52. Now we can cross out our working, write a 0 on our second answer line, and now 5 times 2 is 10, so 10, and 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 is 13. If we add up our two answer lines, we get 182.0, or 182. Question 35. 4 2/3 minus 1 6/7. So 4 times 3 plus 2 is 14, so that's 14/3. And 1 times 7 plus 6 is 13, so that's 13/7. Now we need to get the denominators the same, so we need to find equivalent fractions so that they have a common denominator. 3 times 7 is 21, so we need to work out 14 times 7. That gives us 98. So we have 98 over 21. Then onto this fraction, 7 times 3 is 21, so we need to work out 13 times 3, which is 39. So we can rewrite our question again as 98 over 21 minus 39 over 21. So finally we have fractions with the same denominator, and 98 minus 39 is 59. We keep the denominator of 21, so we have 59 over 21 as our answer. Question 36. 8,827 divided by 97. So we need to work out our 97 times table. 97 is 1 times 97, and working out our 97 times table is actually really easy. Why is that? Well, 97 is 3 less than 100, so we can work out the next times table by adding 100, then subtracting 3. 97 plus 100 is 197, then if we take away 3, we get 194 as 2 times. Then, add 100, we get 294, take away 3, we get 291 as 3 times. Add 100 is 391, take away 3 is 388 for 4 times. Add 100 is 488, take away 3 is 485 for 5 times. Now remember, 5 times always has to end in a 5 or 0, and because 485 ends in a 5, that means we can be confident that we haven't made any mistakes so far. So let's keep going. Add 100 is 585, take away 3 is 582 for 6 times. Add 100 is 682, take away 3 is 679 for 7 times. Add 100 is 779, take away 3 is 776 for 8 times. Add 100 is 876, take away 3 is 873 for 9 times. And then to check that we've worked out the times tables correctly, let's add another 97. So 100 more gives us 973, take away 3 gives us 970 for 10 times, which is obviously correct for our 97 times table. Now, there isn't any point looking at the first 2 digits, because 88 is less than 97. So let's take the first 3 digits together and look at 882. This is larger than 9 times but less than 10 times, so we write the answer to 9 times underneath and write a 9 in our answer line. Now 882 minus 873 is 9, and we can bring down the 7, so now we have 97 divided by 97, which is of course 1, so our answer is 91.